welcome back to the channel. In today's episode we're going to talk about a slightly different topic. We're gonna go through the statistics of my small collection of ball pythons, and I'm also going to show you how I did the calculation on how much does it cost me to produce a clutch of eggs. We're gonna analyze the cost of production per egg. Stick around. I am going to show you some numbers, how I do the calculation, and I'm going to show you some figures or graphics in the attempt to make it a bit more interesting and visually more appealing. So here we have the raw data of my expenses. We can see on the left the price that I paid for each of the snakes that I bought. So I bought a dozen royal pythons, and you have the cost in rubles and in euros. There is a bit of an error due to the conversion ratio of the currency exchange has been going down on the ruble. It started at 72 when I arrived, and now it's around 90 rubles per euro. And here I count everything: the wood terrariums that I bought in Australia, the two racks that I bought and the other one I built here, all the things as you see, and pretty much the biggest expenses is the rodents. So you can see all the tools. In this page I have the record of the snakes that I bought, gender, date of birth to the best of my knowledge, and who did I bought them from, or in some cases the ones that I have hatched and are now officially part of my collection. So, as of today, the 28th of November 2020, I have 24 royal pythons at my care. I have one albino Nelson milk snake, different species, and there's still one egg in the incubator. It's the deformed snake, so I'm not counting that one. So pretty much I have a couple dozen snakes. So in terms of morphs, I number the number of morphs that I have repeated. We'll see on the graphics later. Pastel is my most common morph, most prolific morph in my collection. So officially I have 16 ball pythons in my collection with a ratio of 2 morphs per ball python, so they're like double combos, and we'll analyze this data in more detail. I did this simple pie chart where you can see that the investment in snakes and the investment in tools and consumables, tools, it's the tools, the hook, the thermostats, everything, and consumables can be considered mostly the rodents. So it's around 50-50 by today. The rodent expense keeps increasing, so you can have a good idea of how much you would possibly be investing in your collection. There are some limitations or a critique that I could make. I have melamine racks like this. If you invest in freedom breeder racks, if you have rodents more expensive or less expensive than I'm getting them, this figure will change a little bit. Or if you buy high-end, medium-end, high-end ball pythons, this will change. But in my collection, these are my numbers. In terms of morphs, I have some with one morph, like a quarter of them have one morph. The majority has 2 morphs, and to balance on the ratio, I have some I bought and I have some hatched that are triple combos, mostly incomplete dominant morphs. I'm working on recessive project, mainly the clown. I have a clutch of het albinos coming due to lay in a couple months, but pretty much it's a fairly simple collection and they are easy to identify. As part of my initial research, I learned that it's better to invest in the beginning in females, so I bought more females. I've been preferably holding back females. I've been paying attention to the males. I bought a couple males. I have 3 breeder males and I've held back a couple more. So it's around 2/3, or it was 2/3 females and 1/3 males. So that's a good ratio for the future of this collection in terms of pairing. Regarding the most popular morph, it's of course the pastel jungle, and afterwards in a tie comes the fire and the pinstripe. I have a few single morphs and combos with cinnamon, with enchi, a single morph desert. Yes, I have a female desert, and I bought a leopard female, and I hatched a couple more snakes with leopard, lesser, spot nose, Mojave, spider, lesser. I have a granite, red stripe, a GHI, and clown is on the 0. I still do not have visual clown. So that's pretty much my initial objective of collecting the classic morphs. There's a few missing here. I will get them when I find a good exemplar if I want. But I'm happy with my collection. I have the morphs that I wanted. And this is the resume of the most popular morphs in my collection. Regarding the date of birth of my snakes, I bought one, the Spymo was 4 or 5 years old, so she's now 5 or 6, so it's this one here, the 6%. I also bought a couple of sub-adults from 2017, so it was a couple of years ago. In 2018 I also bought a few, and 2019 and 2020 these parcels are pretty much the snakes that have hatched. I also bought a couple in late 2019 at the ham show, and this 2020, these, as I have not bought any snakes due to the corona lockdowns, this parcel of about 1/3, it's my holdbacks, 31% of holdback.